In this video, I hope to help any backpackers that are wondering how much of their trip should they plan and how much should they leave up to chance. So when I first started backpacking, I was thinking about this myself. Like, would it be more enjoyable if I planned most things, did loads of research, found the best ways, the best routes, the best attractions, and planned everything and make sure that everything was certain? Or would it be better if I didn't plan so much, left things up to chance, left things spontaneously, and allowed for unexpected adventures? So I'm going to go through my thought process when I was a beginner backpacker and what I think now about that question. So when first starting out with backpacking, I had a lot of FOMO. I always wanted to see as much as I could, go to all the attractions that people would talk about, explore as many places as possible, and I was very set on researching and making sure I did everything I wanted to. And I think that's what most backpackers fall into the trap of, researching a lot, planning a lot. And of course there are some things you do need to plan, like flights. For most people, knowing where you're staying each night is pretty important. But as I backpacked more and more, I changed my thought process on this, and I'll tell you about that later on in the video. But for now, that was what I was thinking, and that's why most of my backpacking adventures were very planned. I knew where I was staying multiple nights before I went to a place. I knew exactly where I was going. I knew how I was getting there, and I had an idea of what places I might go to when I explore each destination. And I didn't plan loads and loads, but I researched quite a bit. And after going on these trips, I did enjoy myself. It was fun. But as I did more of these planned backpacking trips, the enjoyment, the novelty started to fade a little bit. So when I planned, of course, I knew where I was staying each night. I had the transport booked, and I researched a bit more. But then I experimented by researching less on my backpacking trips, and researching less, planning less, slowly but surely planning less the more trips I went on. So then, through traveling, through hitchhiking, and by using sites like Couchsurfing and using hostels last minute and meeting people without having any idea at all where I'm staying each night, it really opened my eyes to the possibilities of this serendipitous, this spontaneous way of travel. So now I'll talk about my thoughts now about this question. I think, first thing first, if you're a beginner backpacker or you've not backpacked that many times, you can consider yourself a novice, an amateur, then for sure, the more planning you do, the more secure, the more confident, the more capable you'll feel and you'll be when you travel. There'll be fewer things going wrong, which if you have less experience backpacking, less experience traveling, then that's the best option. So if you really can take one thing from this video, it's the less experience you have, the more planning you have to do. Now, how I feel now is through taking myself out of my comfort zone, through meeting people serendipitously, spontaneously. Just as I arrive in destinations, I learn how beautiful and amazing the world can be. Long story short, I think it's so much better to travel unexpectedly with few plans, because it opens up the itinerary for unexpected adventures. You meet more people, maybe you explore with those people and you chat with them. Maybe you go on side quests, maybe you go places you wouldn't have thought to go. So the less you plan, the more windows of opportunity you receive on your adventures. It's so fascinating to me that the less I planned, the more lucky I felt, because I just had one really important benefit of not planning so much is your expectations of things go down. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because when you're researching a lot, you learn about things and your expectations might be high about a certain place you want to go to, like Venice or Berlin or Pompeii or wherever you're going. But with fewer expectations, with cheaper trips and with fewer expectations, there's more room for you to enjoy the trip. Because let's say you really enjoy your trip to Paris, but your expectations are really high anyway, then it won't feel like, you won't feel so jovial, so happy when you're there. You'll still enjoy it, but it won't be, if it's similar to your expectations, it'll just be, it was a good trip. It was a good trip. Nice adventure. But if your expectations are low because you've not researched much, you don't really have so many plans, you hitchhike, things sometimes don't go to plan because you don't plan, then your expectations will be low and your trip will be more of a roller coaster. You'll have highs and lows, but the difference between the highs and lows is massive, and that's where the enjoyment factor is. So let's say your expectations are pretty low, then you go there and it could be a range of options. You know, something might go wrong, like you can't find cheap food, or it takes you a while to hitchhike. But when you do get those highs, you'll feel so much, you'll feel so much better. And I'm telling you, when you travel that way, it will be so much more enjoyable, and travel will be so much more meaningful. So to answer the question, should you plan most of your trip or should you not plan most of your trip? To plan or not to plan, that is the question. And my answer for that is, if you're not very experienced, plan more so you can build confidence and build your backpacking portfolio momentum. If you've got a little bit of experience traveling, and people like to overplay how much experience they have, so don't let your ego get in the way. But if you really do have some backpacking trips under your belt, then start experimenting, start going more up a comfort zone, and start really living. Hitchhike, go to places without knowing where you're staying, go to places without really knowing where to go. Of course you'll have maps, that's important, take your maps with you, but you won't really know what you're doing. You'll meet people, you'll create connections, you'll create memories. Travel serendipitously, spontaneously, without plans, and you will not regret it. That's my answer for you. Hopefully this video helped someone, because I know I was experiencing this worry about planning, should I do it or should I not. Hopefully this helps someone, and if you like backpacking and traveling and enjoying yourself to the fullest when you travel, and not like these fake travel vloggers that like to fake things, then follow along, because I want to share my authentic trip, my authentic thoughts about how I travel and why how I travel is the best way of traveling. Anyway, enough waffling. That's the video for today. See ya. Oh, and keep hitchhiking.